Hello everyone, don't know if anyone's there yet. I'll just wait for a couple of minutes. Hiya Sarah, nice to know that you're there. And Alison. Hiya Steve. And Katie, hi Katie. And Sylvia, hiya Sylvia, hope you're doing all right with the girls. What a wonderful day we've had today. The weather's been beautiful, hasn't it? So I hope you've been making the most of it. We've had the paddling pool out, but Ethan, I must stress, is the only one that's been in that pool. So, hiya Jane, hiya Rob, and my Pete and Janice. Hiya David. Who else have I missed? Anybody? Hiya Maureen and Kay. Well, I'll just wait a few more seconds. Hiya Terry and Morris. Hi, good to see you. Hope you're enjoying the first couple of Beatitudes tonight. Hi Louise. Great, David, that you got to see William today. That's a real answer to prayer, so that's great. Let's kick off. So tonight we're looking at, in the Beatitudes, blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. And Terry yesterday in his Beatitude sort of was a bit unsure about meekness, and I hope, Terry, that this really encourages you, because I thought it's brilliant. Hiya Leslie. So in our 21st century culture, our Western culture, it doesn't really embrace the characteristic of meekness, does it? I don't know what you think of when you think of meekness, but you see, pride is a real forerunner in our culture. And pride is defined, hiya Colette, pride is defined as the strong, the beautiful, the powerful, the intelligent. It's always about me. Politicians are puffed up in their speeches, in their debates. Entertainers glamorize pride in their movies, in their lifestyles. Educators teach pride by emphasizing self-esteem, making every child a winner, whether they deserve it or not. And sports icons reinforce pride as the path to greatness. So probably the least admired quality in our culture is meekness. And yet, the greatest person to walk on this earth, our history-changing Jesus Christ, was meek and humble, and says to follow him, to learn from him. So Jesus Christ personifies these Beatitudes, this blessed way. He is all of these things. This is the kingdom way, and we are to follow in his footsteps. So in our modern thinking, and looking at the modern translation of what we think of as meekness, it has actually lost its true identity, its true biblical meaning. And so we automatically think maybe submissive or soft or gentle, not that those things are wrong, but we maybe see it as a bit spineless or accepting. And yet biblical meekness is not weakness, but refers to exercising God's strength under his control. Let me unpack that a bit more. It's that even when we are in undesirable situations, you might feel like this lockdown is an undesirable situation, and it causes us to feel weak at times, or situations may cause us to look weak. We may look weak when we are seen to turn the other cheek, or we may look weak when we are looking for God's justice and we're not trying to retaliate ourselves. But actually, meekness is that we are actually enduring and inwardly resilient and strong. I love those two words, inwardly resilient and strong, enduring. This is what meekness is about. Strength under control Jane, yes. You see, the word meek in the Greek is the word praus, and it was used for domesticated animals. Now, I was brought up having a lot of dogs in my family home, and there was this one particular dog called Millie, and it took Millie ages to be domesticated. You couldn't leave her alone for any stretch of time without her weeing and pooing on the floor for 6 months or longer. But she was in training, so, she got there in the end. But this word meek isn't about an unruly or a wild animal. It refers to an animal that is strong and powerful, either like a war horse or a well-trained ox. So it's disciplined and it's under the control of the human. So the word meek used in Matthew 5:5 is this: blessed are the meek. It refers to a strong person who is under God's control. He or she is controlled by God in thought, in word, in will, in action, and in emotion. So meek is one who submits not to his will, not to the world's will, but to the great and gracious will of God. So meek is not weak, is not wishy-washy, is not effeminate, is not timid. You can't be walked all over if you are weak. If you are meek. But being meek is not passive or spineless. In fact, it is quite the opposite. I'm going to tell you a quick story. A man called General Peter Pace tells this story about himself as a young captain during the Vietnam War. He says this: there was an event in Vietnam where I almost made a serious mistake. We had been on a patrol, and a young Marine named Lance Corporal Firmino, 19 years old, from New York, was killed by a sniper. The bullet came from a nearby village. I was the platoon leader, and he was my machine gun squad leader. I was enraged, and I called in an artillery strike on that village to get the sniper. I then looked to my right and saw 21-year-old Sergeant Reed Zachary. He did not say a thing, but he simply looked at me, and I knew what I was going to do was wrong. I called off the artillery strike, and we swept the village, as I should have done in the first place. We found nothing but women and children, as the sniper was long gone. I don't know that I could have lived with myself had I done what I originally planned to do. I had almost allowed the rage of that moment to overcome the situation. After the event, I called my platoon together in a little bombed-out crater, and I apologised to them. I told them, had it not been for Sergeant Zachary, I would probably have made the wrong decision. The reaction of the platoon was amazing. It was very warm and friendly, a family response, and I learned that a leader admitting mistakes and thanking those who point them out to him or her is really important. You see, this man was about to make a massive mistake, but yet he came under the conviction of those eyes, that conviction of pride and rage, and he did the right thing. He humbled himself and he made the right decision. He was being led on the right path. He controlled himself in the end, like that horse, like that ox. And what would it look like for us, the Church of Jesus Christ, to embrace meekness and to show this kind of strength, this kind of holding back, this kind of, just control and discipline, and then when we did make mistakes and failings, we owned them and we admitted them. We embraced humility that and we weren't reactionary. You see, meekness is power under control. And Jesus refers to himself as meek, the most strong, the most courageous, beautiful person ever to walk our planet. And you wouldn't say that Jesus was spineless or holding back. And yet meekness has this depth of patience that says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. It has this ability to see life in a long view. It has a big perspective. It sees the bigger picture, and it declares, not my will, but your will be done. And it admits our weaknesses. We should admit our weaknesses to God and submit them to God. So meekness is still humility, because without humility, we cannot learn. If you think you know everything, you see, true humility banishes pride. And I heard Joseph Prince say just the other morning, as I was watching the God channel, that he had observed that the most prideful people are actually the most insecure, always having to prove themselves. And yet the Christian should be secure in who they are. We should be the most secure people on the planet. And I know that that takes time, because when we realize who we are, when we realize what we gain and what we get when we embrace this lifestyle, when we embrace meekness. So in lockdown, are you submitting to this process? Are you allowing Holy Spirit to strengthen you, to challenge you, to change you, to come into those attitudes and those struggles? You see, one person writes, a man cannot lead others until he has mastered himself. No man can serve others until he has subjected himself. No man can be in control of others until he has learned to control himself. But the man who gives himself into the complete control of God will gain this meekness, which will indeed enable him to inherit the earth. So, meekness, strength, control, discipline, humility, like that horse, like that ox, devoted to its master. And Jesus says you will inherit the earth. And when I think about inheriting the earth, a few things, it is yes, now, because these are present tense promises. Blessed are, it's now, but it's also a future. So when I think about inheriting the earth, then I have to realize that, wow, my God, my daddy, Father God owns the earth, and I'm his daughter. I have to understand that as a child of God, that I'm a co-heir with Christ, that I'm a joint heir with Jesus Christ. But it's for now. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. It is here. And he is offering us a lifestyle that is blessed, that is countercultural, upside down kingdom. The meek inherit. So am I investing in my future by what I do now? And you see, our Father as well, inheriting the earth, our Father provides all of our needs. So now, in this time, I can enjoy the beauty of our planet. I can enjoy the earth, secure in my Father's love and provision. And then I can also look forward as a child that one day he will make a new heaven and a new earth, that all things will be made new. And we will rule and reign with Christ back on this earth. So our inheritance when we die isn't that we're just sat on a cloud floating around, but when Jesus returns, he will one day make a physical earth, and you will physically be back here on planet Earth, active and living and alive, how it originally intended to be, and better. So be confident tonight that the meek life offers us something that is so good. Submit yourself afresh to God tonight. Allow him to develop meekness in your character. Don't be like a wild stallion that can't be tamed, but allow Jesus this evening to take the reins and steer you, control you, be bridled to Jesus, be yoked to Christ. So I'll just finish with this verse, Matthew 11:28-29. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me. This is Jesus speaking, for I am meek and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Training in meekness is not always easy. But when we listen to his Spirit, when he looks at us with those eyes, we are able to make right decisions and grow in meekness. So God bless you, because blessed are the meek, they will inherit the earth. We'll look forward to Chris tomorrow night, and Anne Lineker is going to do Saturday morning for us. So tune in tomorrow evening for Chris and Saturday morning for Anne. So God bless you. Just pray that you're all okay. Get in touch if you're not. Keep loving on one another. Miss you all. See you soon.